Thinking Slow, a fresh perspective to sustainable lighting design. This presentation aims to provide fresh perspectives on the future of sustainable lighting design, where I'll discuss a concept called slow design and express some of my own thoughts and perspectives on this concept. Then I'll explore how the principles of slow design can be applied in lighting design by describing some of my own projects as case studies. In an ideal world, sustainable design would be a trinity of ecology, economy, and equity. Unfortunately, reality is too far removed from this ideal world, as design seems to be more reactive only towards economy. So, how has this affected the process of design? The effects are not very encouraging because design is no longer a creative process. All the creative energy of designers is being spent on oiling the wheels of economies. Designers know deeply within their hearts that good design takes time, and time itself has been progressively commodified with this approach. Therefore, humanity needs to take a critical step of decoupling design decisions from economics. Now, we all agree that this is a tough ask, making design decisions independent of economics. And this is where slow design comes into play. So, what is slow design? The definition, as provided by Alistair Ford Luke, the founder of slow design, is that it's a design process that is deeply conscious of the lifespan, materials, and processes used in the creation of a product that result in ecological soundness and consumer enjoyment. So, if we are to apply this definition to lighting, it would mean a luminaire is created with a lot of care for the environment by using local materials, care for the individuals and society by employing local craftsmen in a local workshop, and finally, the product is exported globally. Now, these ethical products will be of good quality, save money, and be long lasting. The context is always with respect to sustainable design. We are all aware that sustainable design is based on the three pillars of environmental soundness, economic feasibility, and social equitability. Slow design emerged as a new paradigm for sustainable design where environmental well-being is balanced with individual and socio-cultural well-being. Therefore, slow design brings the community together into a closer nexus with the environment, where economy and this whole hurrying along for economic benefits takes a back seat, and individual and socio-cultural needs are given more prominence. The philosophy is against the possible degradation of life through fast consumerism and constant want. We are all aware of the negative effects of consumerism, which not only include depletion of natural resources and pollution of the earth, but a whole imbalance in the socio-cultural fabric of our lifestyle. Slow design brings about a need-based contemplative consumption, which enables consumers to think before they act. The philosophy is definitely not against speed. Now, who doesn't want a fast internet connection that enables us to achieve faster results? Who doesn't want a fast train that enables us to reach our destination faster? But what it is against is the hurrying along of natural pace. The whole game of acceleration and deceleration in natural pace is both unhealthy and unwarranted for any project. So, if I am to summarize slow design, it would be designs that are developed with actual need and well being in mind by using recycled and renewable energy and materials with thoroughly mapped futures. It is a concept that progressively moves from a cradle to grave approach to a cradle to cradle approach where biodegradability and recycling processes follow a zero waste policy. There is a perfect merger between biological and technical feasibility. This brings us to the next question. Why is slow design so relevant to the lighting industry? As we are all aware that this digital revolution of seamless interconnectivity is fast morphing the lighting industry into an IoT concept. Every facet of human life is soon becoming digitized, and so is lighting. All our traditional ways of designing with light are being challenged by this digital revolution because the lighting field has turned into an arena for players from different fields. We have players from the electronics and telecommunication, computers and software enter into lighting. Acceleration and innovation are becoming keys for survival in this game-like arena. This is where slow design will have an important role to play. So how would slow thinking impact lighting design? It will have a positive impact because lighting professionals can start experiencing real freedom only when lighting starts improving our lives while simultaneously improving our societies and cultures. Also, when lighting starts contributing to the restoration of the health of our environment. Now that we have established the theoretical basis of slow design, I will now discuss the 6 principles of slow design. These principles have been a helpful guide in my own design process, where I have interpreted them in a personalized manner and applied them based on the project requirements. In the following slides, each of these principles will be explained in detail, followed by my own interpretation and application in each of the project case studies. Principle 1 is expand, where slow designs help in expanding the real and potential expressions of environments. These environments are expanded beyond their perceived functionalities, physical attributes, and lifespans. I have interpreted and applied the principle of expand to a corridor and ATM core of a hotel. Electric lighting has been used to emulate daylight, where indirect light from the coves appear to spill in from an imaginary skylight. The strips of coves adds a layer of dynamism to the corridor while enabling wayfinding. This, in turn, provides a richer experience to a rather monotonous process of walking down a corridor. Principle 2 is reveal, where slow designs reveal the often forgotten or missed experiences in everyday life. These experiences can also include materials and processes that have been easily overlooked while creating these designs or experiencing these designs. The principle of reveal has been interpreted and applied in the entrance of a private residence. The owner of this residence was an avid art collector and especially had a taste for materials that had been discarded or unused by artists. He had created an art installation using these discarded materials in his entrance, like these wooden timber columns on the left or the wooden collage on the right. He then put forward an interesting challenge of lighting these discarded materials to reveal their cultural richness. The lighting was taken to another level of recycling and reusing, where unused strips of LED tape from other areas of the residence were used to illuminate the collage. Miniature LED spotlights are interspersed between these timber columns to highlight their richness. Principle 3 is engage, where slow designs can be used to engage users in open source and collaborative processes. This engagement relies on cooperation, sharing, and transparency of information to ensure that designs may continue to evolve in the future. I have interpreted and applied the principle of engage to an office environment, which happens to be a hub of so many different activities requiring collaboration, cooperation, sharing, and transparency. This particular office was a space used for 3 primary activities by 3 different players. First was a call center for a company dealing with banking software. Second was a design center for another branch of the same company developing the banking software. And third was a coffee shop serving snacks for the employees for both these branches. The lighting had to provide subtle differentiation between the three functions while also engaging them to interact with one another. Exposed LED filament lamp in warm 2500 Kelvin color temperature are used to segregate the coffee shop. Direct, indirect, linear pendant direct light in 4000 Kelvin and indirect light in blue light delineates the call center. A specific spectrum of blue light is used in the indirect component to improve visual acuity and suppress melatonin for the call center employees. And finally, LED spotlights in 3000 Kelvin are used to highlight the signage of the individual cabins used by the design center. Principle 4 is reflect, where slow designs induce users to contemplate and reflect upon how much they consume. The design environments enable users to reflect upon this through experientially rich and meaningfully designed environments. I have interpreted and applied the principle of reflect to another corridor, but this time it's the corridor of a healthcare and hospital facility. Electric lighting has been designed to sensitively reflect upon the different types of end users of these corridors and their various needs. There are primarily three types of end users. First are the patients who either on stretchers or wheelchairs. Second are the visitors, which include family and friends of these patients. And third are the healthcare workers who work 24/7 towards the care and well-being of these patients. Recessed lines of light with an asymmetric optic are used instead of downlights so that patients being transported on stretchers see a clear line of light instead of intermittent bright and dark spots on the ceiling, which might add to their trauma. These light lines also become visual guides for wayfinding. Additionally, the warm, decorative wall lights provide the warmth and feeling of a hotel instead of a hospital for the healthcare workers and the visitors. Principle 5 is participate, where slow design becomes a participatory design process where users become proactive participants by actively exchanging and embracing ideas. This not only fosters social accountability but also leads to enhanced communities. The principle of participate has been applied to a student workshop on lighting design. I was approached by a fair organizer to beautify the entrance area to a fairground which had a very derelict and rundown building at its entrance, as shown in the image on the left. As I was teaching a semester on lighting at an architecture school, I used this opportunity to make students understand how lighting can be used to transform a rundown space. Students proactively participated to create a lighted space that provides meaningful interaction for its users, as shown in the image on the right. The fair organizers and the visitors to the fair were extremely pleased with the installation and especially the participatory efforts of the students. This semester exercise on lighting design also became an exercise on social responsibility with the students' active participation. Principle 6 is evolve, where slow design becomes a behavioral change agent. Designs created with the slow design process evolve and mature dynamically to promote richer experiences. I have interpreted and applied the principle of evolve to a home theater of a private residence. The client was a movie buff who had a specific brief of special lighting for each genre of movies that would be played. The lighting in this home theater was therefore designed to evolve intelligently and dynamically. Different preset lighting scenes were created based on the type of genre being watched, for example, an action flick or a romantic comedy. These scenes were connected to the library of movies via the audiovisual system. And every time the client would play a movie from the library, the preset scene pertaining to the specific genre movie would be recalled. This created an enhanced movie experience by receiving an emotional response from the users. This brings us to the last big question. Will there be any takers for lighting designed with slow principles? Well, the answer is to educate clients and end users to look beyond return on investments, because ROI is always a big factor. We need to understand that cultures, individuals, and societies are always seeking deep satisfaction of human needs. The real return on investment is when sustainable designs provide this satisfaction for both environmental and human needs. With this, we come to the end of this short presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.